Hey there, Business Freedom Podcast listeners. This is a bit of a treat today to get to talk to, I think it's a fourth generation of Ray Wood's family has sort of been in real estate. So here's a guy that has really done it all in real estate. His passion is how do we stand out in a sea of options in the real estate industry. I was just sharing with Ray that in Charlotte, we've gone from 5 to 15,000 agents in the last 6 years alone. So Ray, give us like 60 seconds on like a little bit of your background, and then let's just have the conversation. Because I'm interested, you've got a deep level of experience in this industry. So kind of tell us who you are and let's get into it.
Hey, Lars, thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to be on your show. I'm a fourth generation real estate agent, originally from Melbourne, Australia. Been in Toronto now for just more than 10 years. My big breakthrough came, I started a real estate business back in the 90s, very tough market, a massive recession. I don't think it was easy anywhere. And it was the worst possible time to start my business. And we kind of explored and experimented with a lot of different ideas. And ultimately, I wrote a book called How to Sell Your Home for More. And I'd become really good at marketing property, at giving property, something of an emphasis and helping it stand out in the market against the sea of other properties on the market. And when that property market started to collapse, not only did prices tumble, but number of listings tumbled, which often happens in a tough market. So it was, getting harder and harder to get noticed. But I wrote this book and I started marketing it. That was more than 20 years ago now. And I think 15 or 16 editions later, this is the current version at all good bookstores and Amazon for $39.95. But I give that out free to the agents that I work with. And the promise is on the cover, really, how to sell your home for more. So one of the things I love about real estate, and it's basically my elevator pitch, if you like. My elevator pitch is this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, the thing I love about real estate is that it has no recommended retail price. I use a system that helps my sellers achieve the highest possible price. Can I show you how it works? So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's dive into, when I asked you, what's the one thing you're most passionate about, your answer came pretty quickly. And it was, what's the point of differentiation? What makes you special? Why would someone choose you? What's your X factor? Let's really kind of have a conversation around that. I think that would be helpful for our listeners. In every other industry, there are businesses that are next leveling whatever that industry is, right? So you have consumers going to all these.
And it's.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you have consumers going to all these cool businesses in every other vertical, and then they come to a real estate office, and it's like the most pathetic experience ever.
Yeah.
So what's your take on differentiation, USPs, and standing out?
Well, there are thousands of agents out there for a start. I mean, in your market of Charlotte, there's literally thousands of agents, and sellers have got, like in every market at the moment. And I think here in Canada and Australia and the States, we're a fair way through a fairly spectacular property boom where everybody from nurses to teachers and taxi drivers have decided they're going to work in real estate. So, is that sustainable? We don't know. But right at the moment, like somebody woke up in Charlotte this morning and decided to sell. My argument is that if they didn't contact your business or you or your people, it's probably because they don't know about you or there's no relationship. So I'm really big on the relationships. Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. How can I establish more relationships? How can I provide awesome client care? How can I start to create these clients for life? Let's bring that back to what do sellers want. So that seller that woke up in Charlotte this morning, I believe at the end of the day, regardless of what they might tell us, is looking for three things. They want an above market price. They want to kill it, right? They want the best possible result. They want a bidding war. They want to be, 50, 100 grand over what their neighbor could have got, etc. They want to be the heroes. That's fair enough. Again, no recommended retail on real estate. Why not? I think the second thing they want is they don't want to be on the market for a long time. Nobody wants to be on the market for months and months. You know, the seller that says, like, I'm really not in any hurry, and I know that they're doing themselves a massive disservice, like being on the market for too long. Property has a use by date. It's no longer exciting when it's been on the market for weeks and weeks or months and months. It's just ridiculous. So that's the second thing. And the third thing I think they want is a really good real estate experience. So my marketing is kind of catering to those three things. I can show my seller how I can produce a better result. I can explain it to them. But there's a tool I use that I don't believe enough agents use that actually does a better job, and that is a testimonial. So if I believe that everybody, and I don't know what your philosophy is on this, but I hope I'm not flying in the face of what you think, but I'm a huge fan of the pre-listing kit. So my pre-listing kit and the agents I work with, I use a copy of my book, some testimonials, some recent sales. I believe the more you send in a pre-listing kit, the less there's going to get read. People are just too time poor. People don't care. And I'm sure you've done it. I certainly have. You go to a listing presentation and the beautiful package that you spent 3.5 hours producing and getting everything right and on the right color paper and the right size font is sitting there unopened, or it's just had a cursory glance. So I believe that if you keep it really sharp and keep it short and sweet and to the point and innovate a little bit. For example, I like sending mine in a package with string around it and a handwritten thing. What's the mission? A handwritten address. The mission is to get it open. So inside that package, don't put reams and reams and letters from clients. It just doesn't get read. What the best chance of the thing that I believe has the best chance of getting read, Lars, is a single page with 6 or 8 simple testimonials that say something like, "Hi Lars, a quick note to thank you for helping us get such an amazing price for our house. I don't know how you were able to handle 5 bidders in that bidding war that went on for 3 days. The result is well above our expectations. We're telling all our friends, can't say enough. Thanks again, Bill and Mary Smith." Now, that sort of thing is going to really cut through. And that also underpins your point of difference. So here's Lars. What's Lars do? Well, he's a real estate agent. Yeah, but what's he really do? Well, he actually really gets amazing prices for his clients, right? If you're selling, you want to go through this guy. You want to talk to him because he's the guy who's getting the most amazing results. Now, agents ask me, "Oh, what should I have as a unique selling proposition?" And I'm going, well, there's really not too many choices. If you're in a Latvian pocket of town and you're fluent in Latvian, then that could be something. But unless you are, then why wouldn't you focus on the thing that every seller wants, which is a massive price? So I don't believe that you need 4 or 5 USPs. I just think you need one. And you need to hit it out of the park at every opportunity.
Yeah. So let's break that down a little bit. So if a lot of our listeners are looking to scale their businesses, and I agree, doing it one client at a time is the way to do it. Yeah. And we have a process in place where 50% of our closings end up with a referral at the time of closing. And that's really our focus, delivering an experience that's so freaking amazing that everyone's going to refer business to us before we even leave the closing table. So
that is amazing. Just let me say, if for every property that you're closing on and legally, like, you're getting a contract and selling it, and you're getting one out of every 2 are giving you a referral, that's pretty epic.
It used to be 1 out of 10 before we started, the program that we have in place.
Yeah.
But so let's take that. So pre-list packet, I 100% agree. I think that's a huge area of differentiation. What else can we do because we're still competing with 4 or 5 other brokers in our market, for every listing. What's another thing that we can do to sort of stand out as that seller wakes up in the morning? Where do we need to be to make sure we're the one they call?
Well, that probably comes back to prospecting, and it depends on how creative you're getting with your prospecting. So if you're trying to find these cold leads, I'm not a fan of and everybody's got their own opinion on this. You know, if I have to pay Zillow money every month, then I call it the lead heroin, right? It's pretty hard to get off, and you're spending money. I believe that you can control that. I believe there are grassroots things that every agent can be doing, can be jumping in and getting good results. I mean, it's not really that hard. I'm a founder at a company. Are you familiar with Canva?
Yes.
Okay, I'm familiar with which is a great Australian startup, by the way. I'm a founder at another Australian startup called Jigglar, Jigglar. It's on my shirt. Mm-hmm. And at Jigglar, we like the Canva for real estate agents, but we are only real estate products. So we've got a flyer in there, and I'm happy to point it out to anybody. Anybody can jump in, get a free 30-day account, but there's a flyer in there that is going really, really well, insofar as it localizes the message for potential sellers in the area. So I think there's a heap of things that can be doing, that you can be doing. If I was starting in real estate today, I'd be going to jigglar.com and grabbing that flyer and getting it out. You don't need to get a lot out. You only need to get a couple of hundred out around each property. I would be prospecting around properties that are coming up, that are just listed, just sold. And my script would be, hi, my name's Ray. I'm from XYZ Real Estate. It's just a courtesy call. I'm in the area just to let you know there's a property on the market at X, right? If that's legal, or I don't want to cross any rules or whatever here, but hey, I'm out there competing for business. I'm looking for business. If I'm awake, I'm prospecting, right? So I'm going to be knocking those doors. If there's a property sold, even if it's not mine, I'm going to be prospecting the area. So the phenomena that I love, and that I'm no doubt sure that you're aware of, is that when a property comes up on the market, Lars, in an area, there's every chance that another 2 or 3 are going to come up within the next 6 to 12 months. It just seems to be a thing. And I don't know why. I think it's probably because a seller in an area will say, hey, there's that property that's just come up for sale on 21st Street. We're just around the corner. I'm sure they're going to be attracting a lot of traffic to there. Why don't we get on the market as well and see if we can get a buyer too? More buyers means more activity, means more money, means a better result for us. There's a little bit of sheep or herd mentality going on with that, but that's cool. That's the way the world works. Here's the way I look at a listing opportunity though. If your average, I don't like the word commission, I like fee for service. If your average fee for service is, say, 10 grand, and you win a listing, I believe that's a $30,000 proposition, because you've won your fee for service. There's 10. You've denied your competitor another 10. There's 20. And there's every chance that you're going to get another 1 or 2 listings in the next 3, 6, 12 months in your neighborhood. There's 30 grand. Maybe you'll get more out of it. Maybe that listing you get will be, you know, like a killer relationship, a client for life that refers your business left, right, and center. Who knows? We all know the power of standing in an open. We all know the power of having a listing. We all know the power of having something that everybody else wants. So I think it comes back to those relationships. Now, the agents that I work with, and some of whom are doing like seriously awesome numbers, I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mil in gross commission per year. These guys have substantial databases of clients. So, you know, I speak to agents that have been in the business for 5 years and not doing that well, and I say, how many people have you got in your database? And they say a couple of hundred. Why wouldn't you have a couple of thousand? Because here's one thing I've proven, Lars, and it's absolutely irrefutable. The correlation between the number of relationships that you have and your gross commission is a direct link. So I've worked with agents, for example, that have 1,000 contacts in their database, and they provide good client care. Well, I like 24 points of contact in a year, whether it's email, letter, SMS, phone call, personal visit, whatever it might be. And don't rely on email, by the way. So that agent with 1,000 contacts who might be doing $50,000 in gross comm a month, At 2,000 contacts, they can expect to do 100,000 a month. And I've seen that happen over and over again. In fact, when I go to a sales team, we go to a sales meeting and go around the table, there might be 5 or 6 people there. I ask them to just shout out how many contacts they have, and I list them in order from highest to lowest. I can guarantee you without exception, their income is exactly the same order. So there is no argument there. Get out and get some contacts and love them.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you put in there. I want to go back to the point you made about there aren't many businesses in other industries that I know of. I mean, I guess there are some where, there's the consumer over here and the advisor over here, and someone puts themselves right in the middle and generates leads and sells them at this ungodly price. I was talking to a guy that not a client of ours that was doing 1.3 million GCI, spending $47,000 a month on Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
$47,000 a month on Zillow, almost $600,000 a year doing 1.3 million GCI. About half of his total GCI was on Zillow leads. I'm like, you are going to go.
Dude, do you really want to start me on Zillow?
No, I don't.
Please don't.
We stopped all home search leads 18 months ago. So my team will do 3.6 million GCI. We spend $20,000 a month on our database and radio, all total. And we'll net over 30%, running a pretty high level business, but we run it, through just four agents. So we have very productive systems-based business. One other thing you mentioned, and I think it's worth slowing down on, is that I love what you said there. Any listing is fair game to call around and to talk about, right? Yeah. So if you want to have, I know a guy that does, like, a client of ours in Chicago, he does 3.5 million GCI in a 2-mile box.
Yeah.
And he will circle prospect 12 homes around a listing.
Yep.
And no matter if it's his listing or not.
Yep.
And when you take a listing, right? You mentioned 10,000. Our average commission check is about 11,000. There's five opportunities, to earn an additional commission. It's, you could sell the listing, you can get a referral from the seller, you can get a buyer off the listing, you can get a seller in the neighborhood. And then what's the fifth one? Buyer off the side.
You'd get a referral.
You'd help the seller
from your buyer or your seller. Yeah.
Help the seller. So there's, like, all these opportunities, but everyone's just so one and done mentality in our industry.
Let me ask you a question that taps right into that. Why do you think agents aren't doing that? Like, what the heck? Why aren't they doing it?
Yeah, I think it's human nature. I think, the beauty of the real estate industry is that people don't want to think it's, the time is going to pass anyway, right? If you're committing 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for your real estate business, what could you possibly do in those 10 hours, right?
Okay, well, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're not committing, like you said, 4 hours for new business development, I just don't think agents think that's the job.
Well, I think you're probably right, because, why are 5% of the agents in the world making 95% of the income? Nobody seems to dispute that stat. That's because their dollar productive activity gets a priority. So what are our dollar productive activities? I think there's only 5. I'm putting a deal together. I'm taking an A buyer through a house, like a qualified buyer through a property. I'm doing a listing presentation. I'm getting a price reduction, sitting down with my client, or I'm standing at an open house, or I'm prospecting, I guess. I'm on the phone. But if I'm not doing one of those 5, I should be prospecting. So what do people do? They get stuck in the thick of thin things, as I call it. They mess around in things, and then suddenly 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock comes around and they have no results. They have no appointments for the following day or the following week, and they're not generating the leads that they should be. So if you're not doing, if you're not doing one of those 5 things, if you're not in an open or putting a deal together or taking a buyer through or getting a price reduction, or doing a listing presentation, you should be prospecting. Now, if you have, let's go back to my super agents with their 500 or say 1,000, 2,000. Boy, I know a guy from Sydney with like 25,000 leads. He's a machine. 25,000 relationships. If you've got that quality and quantity of numbers, then your prospecting is a whole lot easier. If you're blocking off 9 to 11, and let me just say, these super agents are getting in there and doing it themselves. They are on the phone and doing it themselves. Do they have supporters and helpers and all of that sort of thing? Yeah, but come on, these are the pros. These are the hardcore mega agents who are getting the great results. These guys are on the phone and they're planned. And actually, I've watched them do it. And they sit down. They have a list. They're ready to go. So it's not, they don't struggle into the office and start printing stuff off and fluffing around. They are there. They're blocking out time and they're getting into it. And they just write down, "Hi, Mrs. Johnson. It's Bill calling. Blah blah blah." And going for it right from there. So getting to that point, I mean, this isn't complex. These are the guys that are making the bucks. These are the people, and I'm sure these are a lot of the principles that you're following inside of your business as well. I mean, you're providing an amazing service. There's nothing wrong with telling people about it.
Yeah, and then just being consistent with it, and taking a long-term view of your business. I mean, the goal of business is, in my opinion, is to stay in business. It's like in the States, it's 82% of new licensees don't renew by their second renewal.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, only 1 out of 5 will make it into their 25th month in the business.
Yep. Because they're either not cut out for it. Let's be honest. There's a lot of people in real estate that probably shouldn't be. There's a lot of people that are probably unhappy. There's a lot of people who probably thought they had the skills but don't. Hey, look, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, as they say, but it ain't. So that's an interesting thing. So, and the other thing is, those that do want to do it are fluffing it up. They're not doing what they need to be doing to get the results. And I mean, boy, look at your podcast or my podcast. There's a plethora of free information out there with some of the biggest and baddest names in the business. There's no shortage of information. I mean, the access to information that people can have nowadays, maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's overload. But look, you listen to them. I listen to real estate podcasts all the time. A lot of these guys, as brilliant as they are just saying the same thing in another way, which I love because they're reinforcing the important message.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So what advice would you give to someone that, perhaps they've achieved traditional success in the States? It's like only 43,000 agents out of 2.4 million will sell 25 homes or more.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone?
What's that stat again?
It's like either 43 or 45,000 out of the 2.4 million licensees will sell 25 homes or more.
Wow. That's phenomenal.
And it's exactly your 95.5.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's about, what is that, about 4% sell, the majority of the real estate. So what advice would you give someone that really wants to build a real serious real estate business?
I think the first thing is mindset, which might not be what you expected me to say. And I just heard of, and I've actually just downloaded it, but it's actually by a real estate mindset coach who is one of the few in the space. I think there's a lot going on in this space at the moment, and there will be more. But you can download his 7 hacks at topagentsmindset, mindset.com. And that's just a little document, but there are 7 hacks in there that basically summarize, I think, perfectly the answer to your question. So let me just find it, because I'll go through a couple of these points, because I think that if you've got your head right, I mean, Lars, you could be in the best office with the best team, in the best market with the best boss and all the best tools, but unless your head is right, then you're not going to be getting the results, and you're certainly not going to be reaching your potential, in my view. So can I just quickly run through some of these points, because I think they're really good.
Yeah.
Because I got all the tools and tips and tricks and ideas, but let's get our heads right. Let's begin at the beginning. Let's begin with the end in mind here. And number one, overcoming procrastination and eliminating distractions. So on that, I'd say value your time like you value your breath. Protect it, treasure it. Understand your time is the most important, valuable asset, and don't waste it. Work to a schedule and structure always. Think schedules get things done, and eliminate distractions. So I believe that a lot of the roadblocks and obstacles people face is they get distracted. There's so many distractions going on at the moment. There's social media, my goodness, the phone's ringing. There's email. It's just going on everywhere. So if you can overcome or eliminate those distractions and overcome the procrastinating and just get into it and get started, a lot's going to come from there. The numbers around stress, specifically in our industry, I think a US study of 30,000 adults over 8 years found that those reporting high stress levels who believe stress were harmful were 43% more likely to have died in that period. So the numbers and stats around the damage involved with stress is phenomenal. And we've just got to lighten up a little bit. We've got to probably start saying no to more stuff. Recognize stress as a natural chemical fight or flight freeze reaction, and don't make a big deal out of it. One of the things that I do, and the person who doesn't get stressed hasn't been born yet. I think one of the things that I do when I get stressed is I just breathe, and sort of switch your thoughts to empowering, and see the stress as an opportunity. So I kind of say, okay, well, if that's a setback, it's also a guideline as to what's going on. So, admit that you're stressed, don't own it, and just push it away. Just move on. Number three, stay optimistic. Studies show optimistic salespeople outsell non-optimistic salespeople 30%. So I think it was Einstein who said, "I'd rather be an optimist and wrong than a pessimist and right." I agree with that. Flex your positive muscle. Focus on the upside. Number four, can I keep going?
Yeah.
Here's how to overcome core reluctance. And I think this is a beauty. I think this is probably my favorite one on the whole list. The only time we have the potential to make money in real estate is when we're actually in front of a potential client. So if you want to move forward, if you want to get that listing, if you want to move toward the listing appointment, then you need to talk to people. So that should solve it right there and then. There are personalities that can't do it, and there's personalities that can. If it is continually stressing you out to get on the phone and speak to somebody, no amount of training is ever going to change that. Go and drive with Uber or follow your dreams or do something else. I'm sorry, but let's just move on from that. If you're not prepared to do it, then you're not prepared to do it. Don't beat yourself up about it. I think you should value yourself a little more. Understand that you are providing a valuable service. You're a professional. Think of everyone you've helped so far in your career. Focus on your victories, not on your defeats. I think you need to believe in yourself and be confident to put yourself out there in front of people. If people can't see you or don't know you, then how can you sell to them? You can't sell anything. Be determined that everybody is going to know who you are and what you do. So if you've got a message, like I was saying before, if your USP is that you can help sellers sell for more, be out and proud about it. Tell people about it. I think a lot of agents model themselves off other agents. And when you take a look at it, a lot of those people they model themselves off aren't that successful. So why would they do it? It's ridiculous. I see that happening a lot. So I call it the bus bench syndrome. They're just copying. Number 5, tap into your mindset powers to list and sell more real estate. I think there's a lot that you can be doing. And by the way, you can download this PDF. I just found it at topagentsmindset.com. And I like the idea, do something vigorous daily for an hour. It's probably the most powerful hack there is. You'll feel happier, your brain will work better, you'll have more energy, you'll sleep better, etc. So there's a lot of great tips around that. Number 6, overcoming setbacks and developing mental toughness. I think mental toughness and resilience are probably two of the best features. They're all wrapped into one. I think it's one of the most important things that we can have in real estate, because as Lars, you know, and I know that we're going to get a kick in the teeth. It might not be this afternoon, might not be tomorrow, but hey, it's coming. And I'm just going to pick myself up, dust myself off, and get back into it, because I know that's going to happen. I'm going to lose that listing. That sale is going to fall over. That distant cousin that was going to give me their farm or whatever, that's not going to happen. So we just need to move on from that. So I think that's important. And finally, the one I love here, how to survive in real estate. Put your health and family first. Work will always be there, but if you neglect them, your family and health might not. I think a lot of us know from personal experiences and some of the journeys that we've been through. I can certainly talk to that. And just take time off to rest and recover. So, and then just be efficient and effective rather than always striving and never arriving. And probably the most important things, I'm sure you're familiar with the big rocks analogy. Do the most important things first. Do those things that are going to help you get results. So, I'm sorry that was a little long-winded, but I just really like, your mind is your control tower of your whole life. So if you haven't got that right, all of these other things are in the periphery. So believe you can do it and get in and have a go.
Yeah, I studied, I guess back in 2009, 10, and 11, I studied with Tony Robbins and all of his stuff, and, just the 80%. And I really latched onto that early on. 80% of business success is psychology.
Yep.
There's just no shortage of tactics, tools, and systems. If the mindset is not right, there's no chance.
I'm going to date myself a little bit, Lars. I 100% agree. I'm such a huge fan of Tony Robbins. But I'll date myself a little bit. And going through a pretty tough period in my life, I did put the Tony's Unleash the Power Within cassettes into my car. And inspirational stuff. I mean, I think the guy's in a league of his own, but I definitely attribute a lot of my success. And we've all overcome failures and setbacks and stuff, but I'm here to talk about it. And I love the journey. I wouldn't change it for all the tea in China, but it's been such an exciting thing. And yeah, Tony was a big part of that. But look, you know what? Get the tools you need to get, do what you need to do to get you through the day and make it work and have some fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, if you want to learn more about Ray, I was spending time on his website, topagentsplaybook.com. He's got just some cool free resources there. Like I said, not a lot of guys that have been in the business consistently in different aspects of the business. He's doing like 5 or 6 different things at once in our industry, which is really cool to see. And a 4th generation real estate agent. So thanks for your time. This was awesome. Our listeners are going to get a ton of value out of this. Thanks a lot, Ray.
Thanks, buddy. It was my pleasure, Lars.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.